So Manchester United dream target for the number 6 position to replace Casemiro has always been Aurélien Tchouaméni. But the problem we always had with Aurélien Tchouaméni is if Real Madrid will be open to selling him. So some days back, The Athletic actually reported that Real Madrid will be open to considering the sale of Aurélien Tchouaméni. That means that we have the right to analyze Aurélien Tchouaméni here on Trafford. So of course, if you're looking at Aurélien Tchouaméni today, we are going to be analyzing Aurélien Tchouaméni based on the data. So let's get into this video together. So if you're analyzing Aurélien Tchouaméni based on the data, you're going to find out that he's a very good player, very well-grounded footballer. But of course, you know that we don't just analyze players based on data, because you can't use only data to analyze players. You have to analyze players based on their data, based on their metrics. You also have to do a little bit of background check. You also have to have a first-hand information. You also have to have a first-hand eye test of these players. You need to watch them actually combining with the data to see if the player is going to suit the correct profile for Manchester United. Of course, you know that Aurélien Tchouaméni is going to basically complement Kobe and Bruno Fernandes. Is going to suit the profile at Manchester United. So getting into this video shortly, you're going to find out that Aurélien Tchouaméni is a very quality player, and most of his data are actually in the 90% percentile. That tells you that he is a really quality player. And you could also see from his map, you're going to find out that he's a very wonderful player, well-grounded player. Even though in the past 2 seasons at Real Madrid, there was a season where he was playing as a defender. He wasn't playing in the midfield position. I feel last season was the season where he actually played most of his game in the midfield position, because Real Madrid had quite a little injury crisis in the defensive position, so he was able to play more in his natural position. And I feel that actually affected most of his stats, or most of his data perhaps, because of course, in terms of his data, I feel Aurélien Tchouaméni should even get more than he's getting currently. But if you look at his stats, you're going to find 3 glaring weaknesses. You're going to see lack of progressive carries, you're going to see lack of creativity via his passes, and you're also going to see lack of productivity. But if you look at the weaknesses of Aurélien Tchouaméni, it is going to be very straightforward to analyze somebody like Aurélien Tchouaméni, because of course you know where his weaknesses is, you know where his strength is, and of course you have to pinpoint where he's going to suit at Manchester United. Thanks for interrupting this video. I want you guys to help me to watch this video to the end as we try to achieve 4,000 watch hours in the next 90 days. I want you guys to please help me to watch this video to the end. So personally for me, I feel that the data and the eye test of Aurélien Tchouaméni is so good, and that is why Manchester United is actually targeting Aurélien Tchouaméni, because of course we have heard a lot of talks about the data team of Manchester United, how they have revamped how Manchester United sign players, and how they also use data to pick players all around Europe or all over the world. So of course, and if you look at how Manchester United signs, you are going to find out that there is always an element of physicality in every player we sign, because it also reflected in our signings last season with Benjamin Sesko, Brian Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha. Manchester United seems to be targeting players that are more physical, because you could realize that 3 seasons or 2 seasons ago, Manchester United had one of the lowest physicality in the Premier League. We were so less physical and less athletic, especially in the middle of the park. So where Manchester United usually target players now, you're going to see that also with Carlos Baleba and the rest of our targets, they are very athletic and very physical players. And also, in as much as we want physicality, you should also be able to get a reasonable amount of technical quality also in the players you're getting. And with Aurélien Tchouaméni, we are getting both a physical quality and a technical quality, because of course in terms of physicality, Aurélien Tchouaméni is a very physical number 6. He's so strong, and you could hardly dispossess Aurélien Tchouaméni. If you also watch the World Cup games so far outside of Real Madrid, you're going to find out that he's also a very physical player. And also, if you look at his data, let's look at his first data. And if you're looking at his data, looking at his defensive action, you're going to find out that he ranks for the 87th percentile for Grand Use 1. He ranks 98th percentile for Area Use 1. He ranks at the 92th percentile of the percentage of Grand Use 1s, and he also ranked 99th percentile for the percentage of Area D1. That tells you that Aurélien Tchouaméni is a complete replacement of Casemiro, because of course, if you are looking at players that is going to replace Casemiro, if you are looking at players that is going to be really crucial for Manchester United, of course you need both technical and physical ability, and Aurélien Tchouaméni actually encompasses that. And also from his defensive action, it actually tells us 2 things. One, it tells you that he's a very mobile player and he can be able to cover lots of distance on the pitch, because if you can be able to have such defensive action, that means you're mobile, and also that means you get across the pitch very quickly to win the ball back as quickly as possible. And also that tells us that Aurélien Tchouaméni also engages in a lot of tackles, and he actually wins them, because of course if he doesn't win them, it is not going to reflect in his data and his metrics. And so of course, if you're getting a player that is going to be like Casemiro, that is going to win a lot of balls, that is going to win a lot of area duels, and that is also going to be that is also going to provide a lot of box presence during set pieces, and also be able to help us to win the second balls in the pitch, that is definitely Aurélien Tchouaméni. So another data of Aurélien Tchouaméni I want to be looking at is his progressive passes, because I feel that because of course he played in the defensive position last 2 seasons, I think his progressive passes actually dipped because he is not playing in the role that he actually wants. So of course when he was in Monaco, you could see that Aurélien Tchouaméni was more progressive, was more expansive, was more ambitious with his passes, and his passes had more intent. But of course with the last 2 seasons, you could see that his passes has actually dipped in terms of progressive passes, because of course he was playing out of position. But particularly last season, Aurélien Tchouaméni was actually more ambitious and expansive with his passes. You could see even when he plays together with the back three, or even when he joins stand in front of the back four, he's actually more ambitious with his passes. You could see the game against Manchester City in the Champions League, all his passes were with intent, all his passes was actually breaking the lines, and this is something that Aurélien Tchouaméni is going to be really unleashed as Manchester United, because of course having that ball in a very good position, and of course you're playing in behind Benjamin Sesko, you're playing in behind Kohan, playing in behind Mbeumo, and playing in behind Amad Diallo, it is going to be a real weapon for us, because in the Manchester City game he was constantly finding Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, they were constantly running behind. He was more intense with his passes, he was more expressive with his passes. In the Manchester City game, he was very much expansive with his passes was breaking the lines, his passes was more productive, just far away from what the data suggests, because of course from his data most of the passes are not really that creative, his passes lack creativity. But from the eye test, you're going to find out that his passes actually are being more progressive, his passes are being more expansive, and his passing ability is beginning to improve, just like he was when he was in Monaco. And I think if it actually comes to Manchester United, of course it's something that is going to be more refined, because Manchester United plays more in the expansive style, more in the attacking style. So of course having a player like Tchouaméni that can be able to spot that players in behind, play those productive passes, play those progressive passes, it is really going to help us. And it's something that majority of our midfielders don't do, except Bruno Fernandes, is constantly forcing that ball in between the lines. And Aurélien Tchouaméni is somebody that is also going to bring that profile into United, because he knows how to force that ball in between the lines. He's that player that can be able to make those consistent line breaking passes that can lead to attack. So I want you guys to give me your thoughts on the comment section about Aurélien Tchouaméni, if Manchester United should be able to sign him. I want you guys to like, to share, to subscribe to Tactical Trafford. See you guys in my next video.